welcome to Matchday Live on LUTV. We are back here at Elland Road this lunchtime for a clash with 5th place West Brom. We've got all the build-up to come before our live coverage of the game begins, and joining us for this one, we have our very own Michael Bridges and Stuart Dallas. Lovely to see you both, lads. And I didn't get that memo, did I?
With different trainers on.
Yeah. Do you want to let us know what the reference is to that, Stuart?
It's just the sponsorship deal at Sky you got, isn't it? You've got them too, Brad, you know.
Everybody wore the same trainers tonight, so we've come different tonight.
I think most people watching this also probably own those trainers as well, don't
they?
they?
They do.
How are we feeling, lads? Because it's been a great run of form, hasn't it, recently?
Absolutely incredible. I remember sitting here a few weeks back thinking, going into the two games after the Burnley match that we saw, seeing Sunderland and Sheffield United were the two games that I had my eye on to say, they're the two that we've got to come through and got to get the results. And what games, you know, the late drama in both, absolutely magnificent. So the confidence that we've gained from that is absolutely incredible. Again, that showed against Sheffield United, and it also knocked Sunderland's confidence because they went and got beat off Hull in the next match. So hopefully we've derailed a bit of Sheffield United's form that they've carried on, and it's all about us today continuing and finishing it off at home.
Stuart, what will that have done for this team's confidence, those two results recently?
It'll be huge for the team. You know, any doubt that fans maybe did have before the games, the boys responded really well, and to go and you know, to get the late win against Sunderland here and then go and back it up again with another late win at Sheffield United it's huge for the boys. I know obviously we've played the game before and we know what late wins can do for you, and sometimes it's better to win a game like that than to win it easy. It kills the opposition and it gives you momentum. But again,
the lads celebrated, showed that as well after both matches.
I think obviously as pundits or whatever you want to call us, you're looking at it and you're going, them two wins are huge. They're huge to the lads. But as players, you probably don't think about it as much. But you've seen by the celebrations, they knew how big the result was. But they've got to back it up again today. And you know, if they can get another result again today against a team that can cause you problems, it'll be huge for them.
Well, I'm just delighted we're seeing them walking in here, Emma, because the bus, I drove past the bus down in Leeds City Centre, and it actually had a mechanical fault or something, so I'm just delighted they've managed to get here.
Jogging?
Yeah, well, I hope not, but they're here.
Was that the warm-up, was it? I'm jogging it. We know that winning breeds confidence, of course it does, but is it fair to say, you know, at the business stage of the season, where we're at now, that's more important than ever? It's
consistency, it's form, and I think that's what we have shown. The other side I looked at that, it gives us massive belief knowing that we can change games. The amount of second half goals we have got, the amount of late goals we are getting, that comes from, you can talk about the fitness levels that we have, but I think it's all about numbers and bodies that we have got on board and game changers. So Pascal coming off the bench, we've got Rothwell coming off the bench who starts today. Big fan of his, he's changed the games as well, so I think we have that.
Yeah, the thing is, we're not just relying on forward players to win this game. You know, you see the amount of goals we've scored from, you know, defenders as well, and it's just huge. You know, you looked at the Sunderland game and all the talent you had on the bench. I bet you nobody was thinking Pascal's going to come on and score the two goals. So it just shows that the goals are coming from all over the park, and that's absolutely
Sunderland
massive.
Didn't have them game changes in their artillery like we do, so teams are fearful when they see that.
You know, Bridgie, you and I sit here so often and talk about how important it is to get that first goal and to get an early goal, but actually reflecting on that, does that build some sort of resilience, mental resilience, knowing, Stuart, that when you're out there, it doesn't matter if you go a goal down, you know you can still get there?
Yeah, I think I was at the game obviously the other night and I was pitch side, so I was able to feel that they were under a lot of pressure in the opening 20-25 minutes, and they conceded obviously the goal, and you know, Sheffield United were pushing, could have got a second, and the fact that the boys were able to sort of, you know, stop the pressure and sort of play themselves back into the game is huge, and that'll give them huge confidence as well. And the longer the game went on, you just felt that Leeds were the only team that was going to go and win it. Sheffield United used so much energy to try and, you know, they put so much energy into the game, and it was as if Leeds were just taking a few punches here and there, and you just knew that they were going for the knockout. And
it was a possession that we kept. After that, there was no possession, but then when we keep possession, have the confidence when you're one down to keep the possession. Like you say, when the opposition are running around like they had done, and you keep the ball, they've got to run even harder. So then we were just waiting for the opportunities in the moments, and like Stuart said, you can feel the momentum gathering. And I just think that when you're in that kind of form, there's no stopping you. The games can't come quick enough and fast enough.
Well, look, we'll have a look back at that game shortly. But in terms of our opposition today, West Brom are obviously in that top six fight. What's their approach going to be here, do you think?
They're in the mix. That you know, the gap that we've generated at the top, the chance of opportunities for West Bromwich Albion with the amount of teams that are chasing these 2 or 4 spots that are available. I think there's only 2 up for grabs at this moment in time now. They've got everything to play for, so they can't come back and sit back. They're going to have a go, try and absorb pressure and catch on the counter-attack, set plays, something. I don't think they're going to go toe-to-toe and play us off the park.
I don't think they'll go toe-to-toe, but I think they'll have, Tony Mowbray's team, they'll have good structure, especially behind the ball. And you know, you look at their team there, the experience they have, the players that can hurt you. So it's important, I think the manager touched on it during the week, that you know, they can't switch off, because you know, at this level with the opposition that they face today, they can hurt you. But I don't think they'll come and go toe to toe. As you say, Bridgie, probably a set piece or something they'll look for on the counter attack, and we've just got to be switched on.
That's a good sign in Adam Armstrong as well.
Yeah.
We don't like him. We don't like him. He scored a very valuable goal against us. We don't like him. So
in terms of our team, there's only one change. Joe Rothwell starts in place of Ilya Grove, and there's been speculation anyway around that, about whether that might happen. What are your thoughts on that, Bridgie?
I don't mind it, because I'm a big fan of Rothwell. It doesn't matter who's now in midfield. I am so confident, because they all offer something completely different. However, if I'm an attacking player, I love people that could deliver a ball, and Rothwell has that distribution. He can switch play with his long-term passing. He keeps the ball so well, but his set plays deliveries, I think he's absolutely phenomenal. Obviously changed the game at Sunderland, so for me that doesn't bother me in one way. Whoever's in that midfield, I know there's a job to be done, and it's a much like for like, if not a better in the offensive side for me.
Right, well, let's have a look back at Monday night's win against Sheffield United, shall we? And I know you kind of touched on it earlier, Stuart, but are they the best kind of wins when you do it this way?
I think so. I think obviously you want to win every game, but you know, when you win a game like that, it just shows the resilience you have, the determination, and you know, the quality that we have as well. But it kills sort of the opposition. You know, when you score a late goal like that, and obviously not just Sheffield United, but the likes of Sunderland and Burnley, who were watching on as well, thinking both teams are going to drop points, and then psychologically it's a blow to them as well. But as I say, the longer the game went on, you just felt that Leeds were going to go and win it. And you know, Junior obviously getting the goal, and the determination for him to, you know, to get into the box, because if you've actually watched it, Bertrand Diaz is 10 yards ahead of him, and he should have been defending Junior, and he just lets him stroll into the box.
Some leap and some header, by the way.
But Junior, the determination to go there and to try and force the game, and you know, to get us back into the game is incredible, and he's been brilliant, by the way, I must say.
I think it goes back to saying at fullbacks, we've got the 2 best fullbacks that have had the most touches in the opposition box this season. That speaks volumes for the team dynamics, the license that they're given. But when you get in the situations, you've got to perform, and you've got to make sure you're in the end of it. And he showed once again. And then, like Stu was saying, from that moment onwards, you just feel something special was going to happen. And then this went mental. Well. It's clever header, isn't it?
Yeah, it's clever. He just doesn't panic and you know, try and make sure that he makes contact. He actually like guides it into the net. It's incredible.
And like you said earlier, Stuart, the fact that these goals are coming from all over the pitch, has that been a key strength of this Leeds United side, do you think, this season? Yeah,
for sure. I think it has. It just means you're taking the pressure off the attacking players, and you're not relying on individuals. And it just showed, like, how many we sat here for long enough complaining about set pieces, that we couldn't score from set pieces. So we're not complaining now, are we? And then obviously Pirro, he does what he does, and you know, he can be quiet for the whole game, and then he gets a chance, he finishes it.
Is there any goal he can't score?
Oh, he's unbelievable.
He's got thunderbolts, he's got headers, he's got tap-ins, he's got one-on-ones. He knows how to bend the ball. He's just when he's
But again, it comes from Dan James running and having the willingness to run in the 90th minute. We talk about fitness levels, but he breaks up the pitch, and then his final ball as well is, I know it's you think it's a simple pass, but when you've run about for 90 minutes, you know, it's easy to give that ball away. It's easy to make the wrong decision, and he makes the right decision.
Well, 20 of our goals that we've scored this season have come after the 75th minute.
That's incredible.
So how much of it is physical versus mental, do you think?
It's confidence, it's physical, it's being able to have game changers off the bench that impact the game as well massively. But when you look at that, I can put that down to you've got the belief, but the fitness levels. Stewie's mentioned there, the concentration. When you're not fit, you lose concentration. You find it so hard to even see a pass at times, let alone have a shot at goal. So we must be. They're doing something special in training to keep the lads at that mentality.
We talk about concentration. We've got to give Elland credit, because he had a disaster start in the game. Let's be honest. It could have been a couple of goals. But in the second half, he come out to claim one right on the edge of the box, and he almost slid out of the box. And that, for me, changes the momentum in the game as well, because if he gives away a penalty there or whatever, it's a red card, you're 2-0 down, the game's done and dusted. But he makes a huge, and that's the concentration levels as well, because to be able to come out and do that, and then obviously we go up the pitch and score. So
yeah, maintain that level.
Got to give him credit.
How damaging was that win for Sheffield United? That win for us, for Sheffield United.
It's huge. Obviously, the gap in the points difference, but like I was saying earlier about the Sunderland result after their defeat late on, I could tell by the Sunderland players' body language that they were done and dusted, because they knew that for that top 2 spot they had to win that game. So they were really affected, and that was the knock-on effect when they got beat by Hull City. They've since redeemed themselves and got themselves back with another win, but it's going to be interesting to see how Sheffield United handle it. I think Wilder will have them in a better mentality, but let's, forget about them. I'm hoping it's derailed them.
Yeah, I think Chris Wilder, after the game, he was very complimentary to Leeds. I think he knows the gap between the two clubs, the two teams, and if there's one man can get a reaction, it probably is Chris Wilder, but obviously we're hoping he doesn't. But yeah,
you're right, he did speak about Leeds United very gracefully, actually, and with a lot of respect after it. In terms of how we respond, we saw Daniel Farker was elated, wasn't he? You could see all the celebrations. But how quickly after, Stuart, will it have been, right, we focus again now?
I think you've got to enjoy nights like that, because they're not robots. The players are not robots. They have emotions, and you have to enjoy it. The lads are passionate about playing for the club, about winning. So they'll have enjoyed it obviously on Monday night, and then Tuesday they come in. Boys would do recovery, and there'd be a good atmosphere within the training ground. But they probably had Wednesday off, I would imagine, and then Thursday is back to work again. So of course at night after the game you enjoy it. The music's on and it's great, but you wouldn't be going out and having a beer or anything the way you used to do, Bridgie, back in the day. But
we did. We went to Peacock.
Love that.
But yeah, they would have enjoyed the short journey home. But as soon as they're back in again, it'll be full focus ahead.
Right, well, the countdown to kick-off is on, so let's check in with our commentary team this afternoon, Bryn Law and Tony Dorigo.
Another big game, and here we are down in the tunnel looking forward, seeing whether Leeds United can keep the good run going against West Bromwich Albion. Team news with Tony. One change, I think we'd anticipate Rothwell for Gruev.
Yeah, so Gruev, of course, more defensive than Joe Rothwell, and of course the delivery from set pieces, that's important. And especially at home, I think, when we're going to have a lot of possession, we're expected to really dominate the game. You can see why Rothwell's playing. And
there's only really one outcome that anyone's seeking at this stage, isn't there, which is for Leeds to win again.
It is. It's tough at the top. You've got to keep winning. I think this is an important game mentally, but I think our mental challenges so far, we've come through them fantastically well. Going a goal down a couple of times against like Sunderland, Sheffield United, to come back and play as we have and score those goals and win the games is impressive, but you've got to follow that up. And it's the same 3 points here. What are we on now? 75 points in the table. That doesn't get you promotion. So there's still, a lot to do. So there's no switching off. It's switching on. And West Brom are the enemy today.
And West Brom are one of those teams who are in a position where they've still got plenty to play for, because they fancy a playoff place here.
It is, but West Brom, of course, in the top 7. It's the last team we play that are in the top 7. So our run-in looks on paper okay, but exactly, it doesn't work that way. And so West Brom are going to be playing for everything. So I remember the game down at the Hawthorns as well. Wasn't the best game, 0-0 it finished, but it got us going in the season. But this will be a very different side we're going to face, but also we're a very different side.
You saw all the emotion at the end of the game. We were right in the midst of it, basically, at the end of the game on Monday night. Does that take anything more out of the players, or does that do the opposite actually and give them a bit more of a boost, a push?
I have played in a couple of teams that have won titles. I've also played in a couple of teams that have been relegated, and I know what's a lot easier. It's at the top. So when you're winning, you want to get out there, you want to play, you want to keep playing. You don't want to train, you want to keep playing. So no, it gives you a push, it gives you confidence, but I think certainly the manager will keep the boys' feet on the ground, knowing that the job is still far from finished.
Lots more work to be done, starting here this afternoon at Elland Road with West Brom.
Yeah, cheers for that, lads. Now, when you look at the teams below Leeds United and Sheffield United, there's 9 teams separated by 6 points in that top 6. So if West Brom managed to get a result here today, fingers crossed, obviously they don't, but that's huge for them, isn't it?
Yeah, no more incentive needed, especially when it's that tight and you're trying to gather momentum going into playoffs. I've been in that situation before, Emma, with Sunderland, when you finish 3rd or 4th and you just absolutely devastated, and it's the teams that gather momentum. So the one I'm looking at is Frank Lampard with Coventry. They've come from nowhere. The run that they are is incredible. So West Brom will know that. They'll be focused, and Tony Mowbray will be saying, listen, today we've got to come here, set the tone and have a go, because like you say, once you get in them playoffs, it's anybody's game. You don't want to be in there.
Exactly. Who are their key players today, Stuart?
I think they have a number. We've already touched on Adam Armstrong. You know, he's a goal scorer and he's caused us problems before. You know, Alex Moat likes to keep things in midfield, taking over.
You played with him here, didn't you?
Played with Moat here, yeah, he's a good player. He's had a great career, and he's one that'll try and dictate play. I think Isaac Price, who I know from Northern Ireland as well, is a really, really good player and a goal scorer. Obviously Mikey Johnson, we know how good a season he had, especially last season, and Malumbu's aggressive in midfield. So they've got some big names and they've got players that can hurt you, so it's important that we are fully focused.
Absolutely. And, you know, 4 places are separating the teams, but 24 points. Just very quickly, Bridgie, that demonstrates, doesn't it, just how good we have been this season.
I thought you were going to get us to do a maths question, then I started panicking. I thought you were going to get...
That's your strong point.
Carol Vorderman came out there, me and a Carol panicked.
But it does, though,
it does,
it really
yeah,
does.
absolutely. Do you remember, I look at the results last season, and Leicester City had a right good goal, you know what I mean? And early doors, they slowly got reined back in, but what we have done to gather that, continue the trend and gather that momentum again, after being so devastated with the way we lost in the playoff final, I think it's credit to the staff, the players that have handled it, and obviously the fans that have embraced it. And when they're there, you know, we're back in our living room, as he calls it. Yeah. They're out there, so bring it on.
Now, Stuart, this isn't a maths question, but it is a memory test. What happened here at Elland Road 6 years ago to the day?
Well, you did ask me beforehand, so let's pretend.
Let's not pretend.
I did. It took me a wee while. I did know what it was. Pablo Hernandez goal after.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's just have a look at this.
The atmosphere that night was
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Can we also just have a moment on the fact that was 6 years ago? Feels like 2 years ago, but that was an unbelievable time. That wasn't it?
It was, yeah, good times, and obviously what a player Pablo was. You see it here. There's no. I still don't know how he's hit it like that. There's no backlift. There's no nothing.
Seconds.
16 or 7, whatever it was.
16 seconds into the game.
But that goal probably sums Pablo up. That he was just magic, wasn't he? And he could do anything. But the atmosphere that night was absolutely incredible, and you know, hopefully something similar today.
You see, when I look at that once again, I mean, obviously you witnessed it hands on. You mentioned the backlift.
Yeah.
Just there's nothing there. It's just absolute.
It doesn't.
They grace that pitch in front of these fans. I'll take their memories to me grave. I always say that. I try to explain it to the kids. You can't explain it unless you've experienced that, and you hear that noise when you come out. Unbelievable.
Once in a lifetime feeling. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Well, it was more than once.
Yeah, I know. Well, with your injuries, not that much more. I'm joking, Bridgie. Right, with just over 10 minutes to go until kick-off, let's get the thoughts of the manager, Daniel Parker.
When you look at the playoff situation, 5th and 6th and below it, and West Brom are in that mix, is there a suggestion then that it might be a bit more open game because they're fighting really for 2 places, because the top 4 seem to be fighting for the others amongst themselves?
Well, you never know. We have also faced sides who are fighting for the top 2, and it was like you have to be patient in order to open them. You never know before the game, but what I have to say, so of course West Brom in the beginning of the season had a slightly different approach. They were always really well structured against the ball and pretty strong against the ball. Like, for example, a lot Tony Mowbray's handwriting, because his teams are always possession based and he goes for it and he plays offensive, and it feels a bit like they have really lots of individual quality, West Brom, and feels a bit like he loves them to play football and unleashes them a little bit, and they're enjoying this. So they have dominated possession in the last games like no other team in this league. Normally we are perhaps even slightly better in these topics, but we played against the strongest opponents. It was also then not that easy to dominate each and every period of the game, but they have done this, you have to say, and yeah, lots of experience, many high quality individual players, and they're able to dominate teams. So I think since he overtook, I think in average he was there with more than 60% possession in his games, and this is his handwriting. So he always stands for attacking and also being good in possession, being there with lots of rotation and flexible in the approach. I really like his approach, and we have to be on it also against the ball, especially in order to make sure that we're on the right end in terms of the result.
We heard Daniel say there, you know, we have to be switched on in every game. But realistically, Bridgie, is there ever a chance of that not happening?
I've watched. I don't want to talk about other matches, but I was doing the Newcastle game the other day when they were 4-1 up at half time against Forest. They came out second half and were totally switched off. They didn't think the game was done. They thought it was done and dusted. Came out with an arrogance. Forest nearly came back and make it 4-4. In the end, it was 4-3. But where sometimes you come out with that kind of mentality. Daniel won't allow that. He'll want you switched on at all costs. And he knows that coming off the back of them 2 results, you can get a little bit arrogant thinking the job's done. It's not.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think at times you can switch up. You know, all it takes is a substitute to come on that doesn't know his role from a set piece or something, and you end up your man scores, and it just changes the whole momentum of the game. So I think Daniel's really, really good at that, at making sure that everybody knows their jobs and knows their roles. But we're all guilty of switching off an odd time. But
the other time as well, you know, I look at the culture at this football club. I don't see. I mean, we only see what we get to see, but I don't see any sulkers and babies that I see when I look around other clubs. And you see 1 or 2 lads that come off disgruntled to throw their towel, or they'd storm off down the tunnel when they're substituted. You don't get that here. Everything's like a good, healthy camaraderie, and that's what we need.
Just very quickly, because we are about to hear from Joel Peru, but you know when you do switch off or you lose focus for a second, how important is it, and was it for you two in your playing days, that your teammates pull you up on that and keep you in check?
Who used to give you a rattle?
yeah, there's a few, I don't know.
Gary Kelly used to hammer me or David Batty, yeah.
I sort of knew, because I was probably one of the more senior ones, I didn't need anybody I knew when I had made a mistake, and you know, I lost my man a number of times from set pieces, and it's the worst feeling in the world, but it's just that split second of switching off and you get punished. So it's important. We seem, as you said, Bridgie, we seem to have a really, really good group of players here who have no problems pulling each other up if needs to, but you know, as I say, the manager's brilliant in that anyway, so hopefully not today.
Right, well, Joel Peru has made it 15 goals so far this season, and he caught up with LUTV ahead of today's game.
Joel, another incredible comeback on Monday night. How much of a relief was that to get those 3 points?
Wow, I wouldn't even call it a relief, to be fair. Like, we went for the win and we felt that it was coming.
When you got the equaliser, what is it like to have that belief? Because you did seem to, as a group, just know, you know, they are there for the taking.
Yeah, no, definitely. And of course, you look at the time, you see you have like, well, at least 20 minutes left. And you just know, like, oh, there's plenty of time.
As a group, where you are in the table suggests you've got, you know, incredible character. But for 25 minutes away from home, they were on top of you. What was the message at half-time?
Well, the message half-time was to take more risks and to also try to be even more tidy on the ball as well, to make it easier for ourselves, because well, they were aggressive, they had their momentum as well, but we fought our way back already in the first half, and we knew that we just needed to add a bit more.
You've now experienced 2 wins in 2 weeks, which could be called season defining. You know, it's the drama, the last minute. How much belief has that given you as a group?
Well, a lot of belief. Like, it shows that we can beat anyone, and that, well, ultimately we are our own enemies, that we have to stay on it and make sure that we just carry this momentum on as well.
In terms of your numbers, you're not too far behind your personal best, but you've not had it easy, if you don't mind me saying. You know, you've been in different positions, you've been in and out of the team, you've seemed to really keep your focus. What's been key to that for you throughout the season?
Well, of course, I want to put myself in positions that I get as many chances as possible, and then I just got to keep focused and switch on to convert them as well, and that's mainly what I'm always trying to do. Like, that's something that I want to bring to the team always as well. Like, to reach my personal best would be very nice, of course, and that's something I want to do, because you don't want to miss chances as well. You know, whenever you have one, you want to take it.
Looking at the table, it looks pretty, but I'm guessing as a group now that the message is continuous. It's one game at a time. But how do you stay level-headed in this moment?
I think it's very important to take the confidence, like, from the games that we had, and, well, don't turn it into arrogance, but at the same time, don't, well, look up or look down to any team. You know, as I said, we just have to keep the trust in our process and just carry on. And I think it's a good sign that everyone wants to be part of it as well. Like, doesn't matter if you're a star or if you get subbed on, or even unused subs. You have seen how happy we are and how united we all celebrate every goal or after the game, you know. And I think those are good signs, but we just need to keep carrying on as well.
And into the game itself, West Brom have been tough to beat in your recent meetings. What's the key to success this weekend?
Just to keep carrying on what we're doing, you know. We just, as you said, we don't have to think like, oh, we beat Sunderland and Sheffield now, so now we can take it easy. Now we have to keep our foot on the gas and just keep on going.
Yep. We're back here in West Yorkshire after a dramatic night in the south of the county on Monday, where Leeds United came through to pick up 3 very important points, but the job is far from over. And whilst Leeds